Hello everyone, my name is Anupota. So today I'm going to discuss about unit number 5, coding and testing, lecture number 40. So the contents that we are going to discuss in this video is the coding standards, incremental development code, and incremental coding process, test driven development, and pair programming. Now let's see what is coding standards. So while coding, we can't directly code all the lines. There are some standards for writing the code for any of the program. So these are the naming conventions used. So the naming conventions used are here is the package name should be in lowercase. For example, my package. So in Java you use the package, so package name also should be in lowercase. Variable name should start with lowercase and should be a noun. So any of the variable you should take it should start with the lowercase and should be a noun. Constant name should all be in the uppercase. Method name should be verb starting with lowercase. Variables with large scope should have long name variables, and variables with small scope, that is the variables that are scope within the function, okay, that are shorter names. So loop iterator should be either named as I, j, k, etc. Now the files. So how the file name should be given. So Java source file should have the extension .java. So each file should contain one outer class and the class name should be same as that of file name. Always the line length should be limited to less than 80 columns. So some of the programs always should be less than 80 columns, and also special characters should be avoided. Now when you go for statements, how to write the statements while coding. So variables should be initialized when they are declared, and they should be declared in the smallest possible scope. So always variables always should be kept within the function itself, and class variables should never be declared public. So whatever the class variables are within the class, also always it should be there treated as private because of protection of the variables. Use only loop control statements in for loop. So within the for loop you can use only loop control statements. Loop variable should be initialized immediately before the loop. So if you are using the variable in the loop, it should be initialized before. So also you should avoid the break and continue in a loop. Commenting and layout. So when writing a single line comment for a block of statement must be given by double forward slash. For the names of variables must be given a block of comments can be that is multiple line comments can be given in the following symbol. Now go for what is incremental development code. So you can see there is a diagram for explaining incrementally developing code. So the code will get developed step by step manner at each step. Okay, so the developed code is checked and tested. This type of code being produced is called as a incrementally development. So it is called incrementally because it is checked or developed step by step at each, and at each step it is again checked, and it is again tested, and it is again fixed, and again it is developed. So the code is developed incrementally. So a better process for coding, which is often followed by experienced developers, is to develop the code incrementally. So write code for implementing only part of the functionality of the model. So this code is compiled and tested with some quick tests to check the code that has been written so far. So as you can see here, there is a specification of model. So when you write some code to implement some functionality, okay, so when you enhance some test scripts, when you run the test script, so if there is an error, you have to fix it. Again run the test script. If there is an error, again you have to fix it. So when the code passes these tests, the developer proceeds to add further functionality to the code, which is again test again. So in other words, the code is developed incrementally, testing as it is built. So the coding process is as shown in the figure. Next we'll go for test driven development. So in the test driven development is a coding process that turns around the common approach to coding. So instead of writing the code and then developing a test cases to check the code, so in TTD what we do is the programmer will first write the test scripts and then he writes the code to pass that test. Okay, so it is a reverse process. First, instead of developing and testing it, first what we do is first we write the test scripts for which we have to execute the test cases, and then we write the code to pass that test. So it is also done incrementally when test being written on the specifications. Now then execute the code on test scripts to check for any errors. So after writing the code based on test script, we check execute on the test scripts. If so, they will fix those errors. But if the code is error free, then check the code for its improvement by going back to the execution of code. Later we check all the above mentioned specification has been covered. If so, then we come out of the process, else go back to the specification listed. So as you can see in the diagram, whatever I have explained, it is displayed in the diagram. Now let's see what is pair programming. So pair programming is a coding process in which pair of programmers write the code. So now, until now we have seen only a single programmer was writing the code. In pair programming, what happens? Two programmers will sit together and write the code. So this technique is a key technique in extreme programming. So extreme programming means where programming is done at a very fast pace. So in any pair programming technique, one person will write the code while the other person reviews it constantly while getting typed. So what happens? Errors and defects are noticed at the same time. So they were immediately removed by the pair. While developing the code data structures, algorithms, the code strategies are discussed by the pair. So what happens? Both of them discuss about the data structures and algorithm that should be used in the code. Now this role rotates frequently and makes both the partners to participate actively. It is not that one partner should always do coding and other should review it. It may so happen that sometimes the reviewer next time may try to start the coding and other person try to review it. Okay, so it is not that one person should compulsory code it and one person should compulsory review it. They can exchange their roles. The basic motivation of pair programming is that code reading and code reviews, both these activities takes place simultaneously at the same time. So it will be effective method for detecting defects. So one of the drawback of pair programming is, so the potential drawback is that productivity may be lost in pair because two persons are assigned for one programming task. So if you are assigning two persons for one programming task, productivity get lost. So certain issues like accountability and code ownership may get raised in the pair programming, because what happens, even if one programming is coded, the owner will be only a single person. But if two persons have designed or wrote the program, so the ownership and accountability becomes difficult and get raised that who has developed the code. So in this video we have discussed about different coding standards, how code is developed incrementally, and test driven development and pair programming. Thank you.